It's Phil the Miniature Model Maker coming to you at this end of the week stream. I have made a bunch of progress on the Tau so far, and am kind of wanting to really get it done. So I'm pushing. We did got some more progress done on the Ghost Keel. If you saw the stream previously, where I did this for Red Blur Gaming, I did a little bit more uh, enamel work over on Twitch. Got that pretty well set. I'm going to need to reactivate it. Maybe we'll work on it later. But it's doing pretty well. Needs a few little touches. The Fire Warriors are all pretty much up to snuff. I only need to put the green on these special weapons units and get some green on the Pathfinders, get the metallic on them. They got their cloth highlighted, and then just do touch-ups and then all the lenses. I doubt we'll get through much of that today, but it's still progress points, and we're making really good progress. To be quite honest, I'm very happy with the way things are coming along. This is a lot earlier in the month than I expected to be. I thought this was going to take the majority of the month, but once I get the Ghost Keel done, I'll pull out the stealth suits. So I'm going to try and get this guy done and these Fire Warriors and all that done at about the same time. The only thing is these guys need to have enamels applied too. So that's where we are at the moment. Hope you've all had a good weekend, restful weekend. Mine has been quite nice. I've been able to do a lot of painting, which was very good. And even got a few streams done, video out. So we're living high on the hog at the moment. Nope, I forgot this doesn't, when I switch between Twitch and YouTube, it doesn't save the video settings. I need to go over here and zoom in. There we go. That ought to be better. It's one thing to have it zoomed out if I'm working on the Ghost Keel or other bigger things, but with these smaller guys, I need to have them. I can't really hold them like so much. I need to have them down on the table for stability. This is really thin. You can tell we're getting towards the very end of the bottle. This is water thin. Let's soak a little bit of this up and see what we can do. So it took a little testing, but I kind of figured out where to put the colors on these ion rifles, and they are going to be get their little glow effects on them at some point, but I'm not sure if that's an army tabletop standard thing or not. We'll see how I feel. I may do them when I do lenses and things. I think maybe that should be metallic. I'm not sure. And this is one of those great places where is an efficiency can be found. I need to get paint on the edges here, but this center part is going to be black, so I can just like, whatever. Come back through, hit it with a bit of black. Once it's done, wipe a little bit off just to make it easier. And move on. Twice. Just this is gonna date me. I just saw a video where a lady was reacting to Victor Borga for the first time ever seeing him. And for those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't, he was a very talented musician who combined musical performance and comedy and was at the time just I mean even now he's hysterical. But you know, taste and humor may have changed over the years, and other folks might not find him as funny now, but back in the day, oh boy, he was really something. And the lady was laughing hysterically, which was good to see. You know, these days, I think most comics don't do well if they're not, you know, spouting profanity or making lewd jokes, and he was very. Some of his humor was suggestive, but it wasn't crude. Uh, you know, the normal. Speaking of happy marriages, and where one of the people in it was basically just shoulders up, and he was very happy being married, but the missus was not very happy because she went all the way to the floor. You know, that sort of thing where you get like, ha ha ha, they have no, they have no love life. Um, but yeah, it was really good stuff, and it got me got me laughing. And did I? What did I forget? Oh, I forgot this here. Okay. Here we are. You know, oftentimes these days, family friendly means can be equated with maybe not funny. But that his performances were Very family friendly and absolutely hysterical. Especially if you were familiar with music, classical music. And which I am. I have a degree in music. From a long time ago. it's almost it's almost vintage now. What counts as vintage? How many? Is it an antique? Is it 25 years if something becomes an antique? Or is that only cars? I don't know. It'd be interesting to look up what counts as how old something has to be to count as antique. I was watching some other videos to some 40K stuff, and one of them was Morty and Glory. I like to. He's a guilty pleasure. I have kind of followed him off and on. I like his guard. The Imperial Guard is one of my sentimental favorite factions because that's what I played against most when I first got into the game. And of course, they work very well against Tau. They're very compatible in playstyle. Um, but then when Mordian started playing Tau like Guard, and that was some like giant revelation to people. like, what? What? Huh? No. You Tau supposed to be played like Guard. They're a combined arms force. They're not just battle suits. Look at all the tanks and things that we've got. And then having some success with them in tournaments and things. But he was today talking about why he doesn't like FOMO boxes. And he had brought up an interesting point that having boxed sets, which these days are basically all temporarily available FOMO boxes, but boxed sets allow for clear army progression. And I didn't have time to watch the whole video, but that point got me thinking. Like, okay, they GW first had, well, when I got into 40K back in 8th, had start collecting boxes, and they were pretty good. They I think at least compared to the combat patrol boxes of today, are universally regarded, or almost, with maybe one or two exceptions, almost universally regarded as good army starter boxes. and thinking about helping guide new to that faction, or especially people new to 40K, into building their armies. Okay, they've chosen, well, let's just say Tau, because that's what I'm painting right now. Like, we've got detachments these days, but detachments do not an army make. They're just rules that are taped, added on top of the army once you've built it. And in 10th, right now, my understanding is you have your army leader, whether that be a named character or what have you, you can take just about anything else. So that's, to my understanding, exceptionally free form and has benefits. But for new people, or as in any creative endeavor, having a framework, to know, okay, what you can't do, or some guidance on the project is really helpful. It sparks creativity. Being told, when asked to do, hey, well, how do you want this army painted? Oh, just do it however you want. But it's your army, or a project at work. Make me something that will bring people to a website. What do you want? I don't know. I don't care. Just do whatever you want. You have no idea what the subject of the website is. So do whatever you want. Okay, is there a business logo? What color's the logo? All right, well, maybe we can use the color palette based on the company logo to do that. And there you go. You've got some sort of framework to guide what you can do and be more creative within that framework, because you know your limitations, and you can do anything you want within those limitations. And it's similar with army building in 40K. If anything goes, well, how do I build an army? Somebody who doesn't know anything about the game, well, just get the combat patrol. All right, well then what after that? Get the codex, or go to videos, or this, so many options about what constitutes what, different types of lists. And if somebody brand new to the game goes in and starts looking around and they see 2.5 years worth of 10th edition videos talking about, okay, well, now make this list is good, this list is good. Well, yeah, maybe that list was good a year ago, but it's not good now. And what constitutes a good list? Is that the one that's winning a lot? Is it the one that's a bunch of infantry because the person likes playing infantry? Is it mechanized heavy because they like playing tanks? 10th edition's army building is so freeform that it's difficult to guide new players. And if a new player doesn't really want to go to the internet, I mean, could happen. Um, or for whatever reason, they want to talk to somebody while about building the army, because let's face it, this is a big investment. You kind of want to make sure that you're putting your money in a good place, if not the right place. Which brings us back to box sets. Why not have box sets for, step one, start collecting one, and then start collecting two, and start collecting three, and then from that point, even from like start after you've got your first two, start collecting boxes. Let's say, or army building boxes. Let's say that first box has 10 fire warriors, 10 pathfinders, a cadre fire blade, and 3 stealth suits. That might not even be close to 500 points. But still, that's fine. That's your army building 1. Every list needs infantry, fire warriors. Every list needs marker lights from the pathfinders. Wow. Okay, that's my opinion talking. Every list needing this. Every army can use at least one squad of fire warriors, at least one squad of pathfinders, at least one cadre fire blade, and at least one squad of stealth suits. Okay, and then from there, you've got options. Maybe you could get army collecting box starting number 2, and that's a broadside, 6 crisis suits, and that would be it, because that's the majority of an end of year. That's the majority of a holiday battle force box. But see what we're getting at? Like the having that sort of guidance, or even, I don't know, just another option for a 500 point box. Maybe you do another of the start collecting one box because you wanted a bunch of infantry. Okay, cool. Maybe you want to get into battle suits more. Alright, well then here you go. Here's a box with 3 crisis suits and crisis suits are broadside. And what else? Can we put anything else in there? Dollar for dollar? Probably not. You know, these boxes don't necessarily need to be super savings boxes. It'd be great if they were, but then GW would lose a lot of money on people because they make most of their money on new people, the recruitment of new folks. Yeah. So they don't want to make it too cheap for the new people, but having some sort of structure and guidance for new people, I think would be really helpful. And would love to see two army building boxes for every faction. One using Space Marines, because that's what sells the most, right? You've got a generic Space Marine list of some regular intercessors. Hope I got these names right. Heavy intercessors. A Gravis unit or Terminators. And then a captain and a lieutenant. I don't know, something that is playable, even if it's not 500 points. You've got at least one generic leader, no named character leaders, preferably two, but one's fine. Then you've got a basic infantry squad, something a little bit more interesting infantry squad, and then an elite type, Terminators, what we used to call in 8th edition, 9th edition, elites. And something else. And then if you want to branch off into one of the other chapters or what have you, you can. But there you go for the Space Marines. You've really made your money. People want to play the general non-Blood Angels, Dark Templars, Black Templars, Dark Angel, all of those sub-factions. They have to buy them individually now. That's a whole lot of money. Or do 2 generic Space Marine boxes, and then your named chapters. Sure, they'll lose a little bit of profit off the boxes, but hey, they make enough. I'm sure they'll be more than happy with it. 'Cause the sales, yo. Where was I going with this? Progression and how can we, or how can GW help new players, their target audience, find a path to building their army? What options are available? What could they do? Part of me says go back to force organization charts. I think that would be smart. I liked having detachments in 8th and 9th edition. It helped me build armies, and Hell, I bought a whole lot of tau because I wanted to make a full brigade detachment and a patrol detachment and a battalion detachment. So, okay, you've got that. How can you help a new player getting into it build their army then? All right, well, here are your steps. So here's your basic patrol detachment. If you want to build a 2,000 point army, you can have one or two HQs, which are named characters. In our case, let's pick a Cadre Fireblade and a Cold Star Commander. So I don't want to have Farsight in my army. What does a Cadre Fireblade lead? Okay, and you need to have at least one squad. You can have between 1 and 3 squads of troops, which are Fire Warriors, or Strike Team. Okay, so you get your squads of Strike Teams, and you can have 1 or 2 elite, 1 or 2 heavy support, 1 or 2 fast attack, and these are squads. So you could have up to 6 piranhas. You could have up to 3 riptides or stealth suits. Like there, and there you go. If you want to go reconnaissance, what's your maximum squad size for a stealth suit? I think it's 6. You could do 6 stealth suits. That's 1 squad, and a ghost kill. And I believe Pathfinders used to count as fast attack. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that was just drones. But whatever category Pathfinders were in, and I think they were fast. It's been so long since I built a list. You could put that in there. Elites. Okay, well now maybe you don't want to do reconnaissance, but you want to do crisis suits. Well, you can have what up to 6 crisis suits in a squad, I think. Okay, well, there's your 6 crisis suits in a squad. Having that limitation can really bring out creativity and will give current players a way of easily communicating to new people how to collect, like how to organize an army that they can then collect. You know, we're not getting into the weeds with Stillmania. We're talking about how do you build your list? Like literally, what can you take, what can you not take, what counts as what? And starting with my box of 10 Fire Warriors, 10 Pathfinders, Cadre Fireblade, and 3 Stealth Suits, where do I go from there? Well, look at the Force Org chart. I think the idea, getting away from the idea of detachments dictating command points was good. But going back to detachments as a way, as a chart, and way to organize units and models and things is good. GW could then go and standardize 2,000 point patrol detachments as the basic unit of the game that the army organization that the game is balanced around. And then people like you and me who've been in this, at least collecting and understand army organization, can go to those new people and say, okay, here we are. This is what your basic army can take at most. You're required to have one HQ and 2 squads of infantry, of troops. So your cadre fireblade and your 2 fire warriors. That is your requirement. You have to have those. But then anything above that, you can change. You can have up to 3, and let's just call it 3. You can have up to 3 elites. You can have up to 3 fast attack. You can have up to 3 heavy support. You really like broadsides? Okay. Get 3 of them. There you go. They're your fast attack. Not your fast attack, your heavy support. If you really like them, and maybe you want to model them as 3 rail sides and 3 missile sides. Okay. Well, you can do that, but you have to put them in squads now. Or do mix and match. Or do something crisis heavy. Oh, okay. Well, crisis heavy, now we can get into thinking about getting our commander battlesuit. Or our Shadow Sun or Farsight. I don't know, is Shadow Sun able to command battlesuits, or is she always lone operative? I don't know. I don't play with named characters, regardless of editions, so I don't know her rules. But then there you go. So you've got your 2 HQs, your infantry, and your elites filled out. Now, what other points do you need? What do you want? You like the tanks? Okay, get the tanks. They're heavy support. You can have up to 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom. Building on that, or taking it a step further, thinking about paths of progression, what could GW do to help out with that? Make an official path of progression? how to do your army. And if they made boxes, or maybe you know what, maybe not even boxes, but bundles on their website. Doesn't need to be a discount, but it's a bundle. And say, okay, this is the Tau army. You bought your basic box one, your basic bundle one. Now you can get bundle two, which maybe that's a fast attack bundle. So it's piranhas and whatnot, or maybe it's a reconnaissance bundle. So it's stealth suits and a ghost keel. Pathfinders. Maybe you want a battle suit bundle. Okay, well you go and there's your two crisis suits, two units of crisis suits, and your commander. Making those bundles where the commander can always command something that's kind of important. And the units fill a specific role in the army. Oh, and hey, guess what I just did? I think I just created the 7th edition cadre boxes. You know, I came in after those were a thing, after they went away, but I think they're fantastic. I use them to help to figure out what to buy. I'm like, all right, well, I can get an optimized stealth cadre. That still suits in a ghost kill. Cool. There we go. I can get that, and then I can get the fire base retaliation cadre. I think that's or fire base protection cadre or something like that. And that was 2 hammerheads and a sky ray. Having those things, again, not necessarily even at a discount, but just having models organized into cohesive and usable groups to help people figure out how to plan their army, what to buy. I mean, I guarantee you I fell for it. My creative juices got going like, okay, well, I've got all of these 7th edition cadre box options. Let's make them. But that means I'm going to have a patrol detachment, an outrider detachment, a vanguard detachment, a spearhead detachment, and in order to make them game legal, I had to buy a bunch of extra models. So G Dubs made money off me and my imagination, my enthusiasm, creativity from content that wasn't even available anymore just because it was organized and helped me determine how to build my forces in an organized way. Force organization chart. Exactly that. Okay. And now 6 years later, we're seeing the results. What do I want to do here? Do I want to do that metallic? Maybe I do. I should, because the broadsides railguns have the metallic. So we're going to get the black. Fix this up. How would you, if listener, if you're here already, how would you help? What do you think would help with getting new players organized? How can GW better just organize new players? Give them a clear path of progression for their army. Let's not talk about discounts specifically. Let's talk more about or prices, discounts or prices. Let's leave that out of the equation. Let's just think about guides, products, maybe an 11th edition bringing back force organization charts, those sorts of things. Personally, I would really like to have bundles available. After going through both of my big armies and organizing them for the Stillmania videos, which I haven't released the CSM version. I'm finding that breaking everything down into 500 point groups was helpful for me. And the whole project of doing that, breaking them down into 500 point detachments, helped me organize the armies. It was the same with the Tau. I had to think about the detachments. What was their theme? What's their role in the greater army? Who's leading it? All of that. And it had the secondary benefit of giving me a path of progression to paint the army, which is essentially a path of progression for collecting the army. As if I had just started without all of the models already. part of me, part of me would like to see like truly standardized armies. And hear me out on this. This is me just kind of spitballing and brainstorming. So little little Johnny, little June gets mom and dad or whoever, somebody new to the game, gets into it, and GW has a literal this for this faction. If you're going to play Ultramarines, this is your full army. Like, and everybody, especially at tournaments, everybody who's playing generic Space Marines plays those models. And they are 500 point thereabouts boxes. You buy the first one, build it, paint it. Buy the second one, build it, paint it. Buy the third one, build it, paint it. Buy the fourth one. And by the time you're done doing that, you have an official army. Okay, and that's the army that everybody at tournaments plays. Or official GW events plays. And the same goes for every other faction out there. They have their standard 2,000 points. You get into the hobby, you buy box 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Maybe 5 if you need space for bigger things like vehicles and stuff. Okay. But once you're done going through that series of boxes, you have your army. It's standardized. GW can really balance points around that, especially if they're the only models that are being used in tournaments. Now, detachments, I don't know, a whole host of different detachments, but you've got just those models. And if you want to play games outside of that, you buy other models. Like, you and your friends want to play games, okay, cool. You've got your 2,000 point standard army, but maybe you'll add an extra Riptide, Hammerhead, and whatever to it. You know, maybe you've got, for Tau, 6 boxes, 5 boxes. Well, 6, because we're going to have to account for some of the bigger models. But it's you got your first 2 boxes, maybe 3, first 3 boxes, and then once you get to your 4th, you choose Farsight or not Farsight. And if you go to the Farsight, then your other following box is something. And then if you go not Farsight, or maybe the named character part of it, Farsight or Shadow Sun, are the very last boxes. So you choose Farsight Enclaves or not Farsight Enclaves. And if you don't want to play Shadow Sun, well, maybe you'll just pick up one of the other boxes. Who knows? You know, something like that. Which is kind of how I see their leading now, as it is with detachments. and named characters being a really big thing and all of that. I don't know, I'm just kind of rambling here now, folks. So much to think about while I'm trying to paint my little men. Where's the little tiny brush? Where's the baby nail brush? There you are. Um, but then your Space Wolves and Drukhari and Dark Eldar, don't call them by their new name. Um, and all of your factions have that. And think about logistics. Okay. Production has to plan way far in advance about what they're going to make and when. And if all of the new people getting into it have the choice of a certain number of boxes, well, you can plan on making a whole lot of those because I'm sure their forecasters are pretty smart. Let's issues with availability aside. I think their production forecasters are generally good and know what they're doing. That's why there's so many Space Marines. Um, it's S&M cells. But if you have a bunch of standard boxes, you could put all that in your store. And plan your shelf space accordingly. And then when people want to get something else, do like they always do in a GW store, say go to the kiosk, buy it off the kiosk, order it, it'll be here next week. It's just a thought. But from having worked in retail where we carried a whole bunch of different product lines from various manufacturers, I do know that shelf space organization is a thing and is often at a premium in GW stores. They don't have enough room in their standard store to carry everything. So then don't carry everything. You want to focus on beginners. Have your start collecting box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those boxes will have at least one of everything, or at least one of the major things that the army has. So the new people will see in various boxes examples of everything that that army's got. And in the future, it can be like, hey, I want another Riptide. Okay, we'll go to the kiosk. Go to the website. But you've got 5 products per faction up on the wall. Easy to see. Good marketing. Good visual marketing. And a very clear path of collection progression. Make it easy for the customer to come in and just pick something up. Like, oh, I was by the store. Yeah, and I making progress on my armies, going alright. I think I'll pick up that other box, even though I haven't finished the one I've got. And I mean, that's how they make a lot of their money. Is this? This guy's got hair all over him. Sorry, guys. I gotta address this issue. Oh well. I don't know. I'm looking at my stats right now, seeing no viewers. Or 1 viewer, an average view duration of 4 seconds. So it's probably fine that I haven't been. I've just been kind of spitballing ideas out in the wind and rambling on. I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I like the idea of standardized armies. Because who are your narrative players? Probably your more experienced wargamers or somebody coming in from a tabletop role-playing game. Right? They probably have an idea of how to build things like armies, and from just something as simple as filling out character sheets. Making a character is an awful lot like making an army. You've got to allocate stats and resources and points and things. The true newbie, true folks that GW are really targeting are folks who aren't familiar with 40k or played a video game and want to give it a try. So you've got to make it really easy. Say, okay, these are your 5 boxes, and at the end of this, you will have a tournament competitive army if that's your thing. If it's not, you still can use it. but people coming in from video games, first-person shooters like Space Marine 2 with its PvP mode, co-op mode, competition in games is standard now. Unless you're playing a solo RPG, every multiplayer game has competition in it. So it's not surprising to anybody. You know, esports are a thing, and I think that's what a lot of people have grown up with. I mean, literally, they've grown up with it. I think that's one of the reasons that tournaments are a focus for GW. They know that they're recruiting people, and the people they're trying to recruit could be video gamers, and they have used to esports and all that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I can only talk to myself for so many hours, so many minutes at a time, and we've been going for an hour here. But yeah, there we go, guys. Thanks for if you're watching this in the future. Thanks for listening to all my rambling. I'm going to let all this dry, eat my dinner, go to bed, wake up, and in the morning film my weekly progress report. And last week, hopefully we won't have a repeat of last week. So take care, everybody, and remember, this is a hobby. If it doesn't bring you joy, don't do it. Or find a different way that does bring joy. Be good to yourselves, okay?